Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's edition of the Just Us Review, where we like to take our favorite shows, no matter what genre they're in. They can be sci-fi, they can be horror, they can be superhero based. We don't care, just as long as it's good. And if we like it, we love it. If we hate it, god damn it, you're gonna hear about it. And Today we're going to talk about a special series that kicked off on the Disney app. It's charging us $16.99, putting out only one show at a time.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
Charging y'all $16.99.
Please, I gotta say that for the camera. You act like I'm not a pirate. Anyway, the show we like to talk about that you simps are paying for is
Batwoman?
That's a different topic. It's referred to as WandaVision. That's right. The Hallmark show starring the couple de jour from the Endgame series has finally premiered, and we're going to talk about it. Now, before we even get to this, we want to set it up that this show right now is coupled inside the vein of the classic 50s, 60s sitcom, and we're going to for now, and we're going to pretty much run off that premise. So let's take it from the top and go around the table. Everybody, we're going to talk about the first two episodes in tandem. Going around the table.
Okay.
Christian.
Now, for all of you edgelords out there that react and get mad to everything that I say, I'm just gonna put this out here. I do not mean this in a negative term because I'm aware of what they're trying to do. But all in all, both of these episodes, for the most part, were basic bitch episodes.
Okay, going around. What about you?
Well, I wouldn't
John?
call them.
Let her go.
Sure, go ahead.
This is why you didn't get gum. I wouldn't call them basic bitch episodes, but I understand that it was meant to be. What the hell?
Don't worry.
Carry on.
It's just me not getting gum.
But I understand that they were trying to do them as, you know, the classic sitcoms that everybody and their moms grew up with. And it did get played out after the first 10 minutes for me, but that was just because I didn't watch them that often. But yeah, I'm excited to see where it's...
Well, we didn't exist when those shows were live.
But my mom would watch them.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, but
Okay.
you know what we couldn't do also back then when those shows were made.
Vote or date white women.
I'm sorry, you do those now?
Moving on to our drunk Uncle Earl. Uncle Earl, what'd you think about this episode?
First of all, my VP is black, my Lambo is blue. All right, so.
And my stimulus check is still missing.
But we're gonna get to that later. I actually like both episodes. I actually grew up watching the I Dream of Genies and the.
I mean,
I
they still
actually grew
reran, but like when they actually were running
Yeah.
in tandem, like.
But those were the shows that I watched growing up. Not all of them, like the Leave It to Beavers and all of that. But I get what they were doing and like the Nick at Night type of shows and whatnot. So I could appreciate where they were going, and I liked it because there's obviously something else going on, and this is just setting up the premise for that something else going on. And it's like an experiment. There's an experiment with a different style to see how long we can hold your attention, and I think the payoff is going to be worth it.
Okay, John.
So first off, I want to say this before I get into what I think. It felt so good to see the Marvel scroll after a year. And it actually felt like we were watching real cinema. Yeah, like I was like
I showed my mom this because I was like, yo, let's watch this show. I didn't tell her what we was watching.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, what is this? She saw the 50 stuff, and then she saw the Marvel scroll. She was like, oh, okay, I'm sitting down.
Like, just feel right.
I don't know why I wasn't expecting the scroll, but I wasn't expecting the scroll. So when that popped up, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. It's like it's 2019 again.
the before times.
Exactly. And then there was stuff within the Marvel logo that reminded me that, no, you're in 2021. But, so here's the thing. No, I'll save that part for later. I enjoyed it so far. I thought it was intriguing. You know, a lot of these shows that we watch, or some of these shows that we watch, they'll piss me off within the first few minutes. This did not piss me off. It held my attention. What I am really amazed at is the level of detail with how they recreated shows like that from back in the day. This wasn't like, I can't name another example of a modern TV show that would do this. But like, you know how there are modern TV shows, other modern TV shows
that tries to play themselves in a certain decade.
Yeah, or the show is in modern times, but they pull an episode like this and it doesn't feel quite authentic. I literally thought these were episodes from like the Honeymooners or whatever that just got lost to time and got released now. So when I was saying that the both episodes were basic, I should have clarified that they were basic in all the positive ways you could be.
Okay, so what are the positive?
We're gonna get there as soon as I get through these fast ass intros. It's supposed to be how you like it. It's good, it's bad, it's whatever. Then we do the breakdown. All right, we good. Yeah. With all that being said, I have to say, somewhat it was a little disappointing to me, but we'll get to that when we do our breakdown. Now, let's talk about them goods.
So, can you break down what the positive aspects of these? The way it was, the basicness.
So I feel like with a lot of shows, especially when they start off, they try to take too many risks or jump out there and do things because they think it's going to catch people's attention. And a lot of times it works and a lot of times it doesn't. I feel like because they had a tried and true formula, as it were, which is what shows like the Honeymooners and stuff followed back in those days, they were able to basically, in other words, it wasn't that difficult to mess up because it's been done so many times before in the past. So that formula is more or less, they got it down pat, as it were.
They also consulted Dick Van Dyke for the setup and what
that helps.
Yeah.
I want to say this too as a positive, and don't riot people. Y'all could have picked a better white man than Paul Bettany to be both Vision and then transfer into this version of that character for this type of show. You know what? I'll say that too because this is gonna sound weird, but in the movies that he's been in, I don't know how to put this.
This is the best he's been.
yeah, that's it. Like
this is his best showing.
Don't get me wrong. He makes for a good character in the movies, but like when you're standing next to Tony Stark and Captain America,
you're not paying.
You go over there. But
he had time to shine, and like I said, if they had gotten anybody else, it wouldn't have worked.
He was believable, and I think part of it is because he's freakishly tall, so he looks inhuman.
Actually,
everyone's freakishly tall. You're short. That's why.
Whoa!
I said it.
Calm down.
Personal hits aside, that's actually a good point, but I actually have to pull a little more to the left with this one. I honestly thought Elizabeth Olsen actually carried the show a lot. I thought her comedic timing on it was like, okay, I've never seen Elizabeth Olsen in this setup, and I thought she was perfect for it, which is weird.
No, it's not weird, because I was going to get to that too, because like, even in those first 2 episodes, like, she even got, so I'm going to say something, a lot of people gave her flack, as they should, for the fact that when she was first introduced in the movies, she had her little European accent, and then all of a sudden she just didn't have it anymore.
Okay, no, but the whole reason that was for is that Black Widow was teaching her how to disguise her voice so that she would be able to blend in properly.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for saying that. No one got that. But anyway, I'm just saying that was a real contentious thing in Civil War and in Endgame.
But like I was saying, her timing and everything the way that she played off I don't know his brother.
Everybody.
The way she played, specifically the way they played off each other was actually amazing. That showed that they have great chemistry that carried over from the movies. So like that was a real point of contention with me. I was like, okay, this might be cheesy and everything, but they played it. They play it to their strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And piggybacking off of what Christian said, I like that they didn't try to like throw too much at us within the first 5 minutes, because everyone was like, oh, but it's not going to be like the movies. It's not supposed to be. That's why they made it a TV show.
Because like you could easily be like, episode 1 was filler, skip episode 1. No, you gotta watch episode 1 because you need to be used to what's going on.
Okay.
Like they need to. It needs to sit in you so that when the next episodes come up, you can be like, okay, what's up?
Right.
Another thing that I want to point out is that this is a masterclass in production value.
Mm-hmm.
Like how you can take something as simple as the sets that they were on
Mm-hmm.
and still show how clean and crisp the angles and everything. Like if you didn't know how to shoot your movies and stuff, I would say watch these past couple of episodes and you can get a direct eye line so you don't get confused by color, you don't get confused by shading and shadows. Like when I was looking at this, I was like, this is so clean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I also like that they were giving us Easter eggs of the Marvel universe that we already were acquainted with. So there was a commercial in the first episode advertising a toaster by Stark Industries. And then in the second episode, it was a Strucker watch. And if you look at the watch, it had the Hydra logo on it. And so I liked how they were fitting those in. And going off of what you said about Wanda carrying the show, I get it. I thought that was because there's a voice that's calling out to her. And so I feel like as the season goes on, we're going to see why it's calling out to her and why everyone's so focused on her instead of on Vision.
I found it also amazing that they kept stuff like the sexism intact for a lot of the show. Like especially getting to that era that you can see a lot of that peeking out from the commercial where they are like tired of burning your husband's toast. Well, come get this and the stuff like, well, the man, she needs to go get the help in the kitchen because she's being so overwhelmed. And like they was playing to those tropes.
I will say that was definitely a strength, kind of piggybacking off of that. Overall, like I said, I like these episodes, and they were just like the fun kind of classic, like Bewitch and I Dream of Jeannie type shows and whatnot. And I think what really stands out is that, you know, she's showcasing her powers in a different way. And I think what's interesting about it is that they haven't really explained or explored why her powers are working in a different way.
And I think she actually got more body.
Oh my God.
We'll get to that later, off camera. But I will say that that's the trope that we're playing into with those supernatural characters in the comedies from back then. But I like how the story is actually just flowing, even though it's episodic and each episode is his own kind of thing, his own contained thing. But there's something in the background that's playing to the larger part of the story, which I was talking about. The reveal is going to pay off. And what really this show puts me in mind, I'm just going to say it now. This show puts me in the mind of Black Mirror.
Actually, it puts me in the mind of the Truman Show, and I'll tell you why.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. So if you notice there was some of it was subtle and some of it was more apparent. Whenever they went off script, the audience would react a certain way, and all the players would react a certain way whenever they went off. And I thought it was less apparent in the first when they were meeting up with his boss, but it became more so evident in the second episode. I thought that was clever in itself. That's why I kind of got that vibe.
Yeah, a lot of the people, also The Good Place, the audience was reacting to their magic show. Like, even though they were kind of reacting like, hey, that's not magic. What's going on here? How do you do that trick? I feel like a lot of those people that's in the cast of this show are in on it.
Yeah.
So
They're either I'm going to say it, they're either sword agents or they're villains.
Because remember when the quote unquote husband of the lady started to pass out, like that whole function was keep it normal. That's why she kept repeating in that whole loop until Vision went and
And
saved her.
laughing and the stop it, yeah.
Yeah.
and also too, like, because a lot of people are like, one of the things that I caught early on is in that first episode when they're like, "There's a special day today. What is it?"
Mhm.
And
They don't know.
they don't know what the day is, and Vision's like, "Well, I can't not remember anything," and she's like, "So what's today?" And he was like, "I don't know," and I'm like, "That's because Wanda doesn't know."
Yeah, I think all of this is. Well, I think it's kind of evident that all of this is happening in Wanda's head.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who's reaching out to her or trying to call out to her. I think that's going to be a big mystery.
It might be Clint.
We don't know.
It didn't sound like
I didn't recognize the voice, and I think they're purposely distorted it so we won't pick up on it.
Probably.
I think even because there's moments where I feel like Vision is part of this scenario too, but there are moments where we have Vision alone,
Do you?
and I get a little sense that maybe there is a copy of Vision out there that's in this program.
Well, if you notice, the outside world is trying to peek its way through because, like we said, like with the Stark, with the Stark and the whole Strucker and the Hydra thing, like I think that's the outside trying to penetrate its way through, trying to get through.
Who did she? Who was she not raised by? But who was she experimenting on? Was that Strucker?
That was Hydra.
Strucker, yeah. Strucker
Okay.
was the one held them in Avengers too.
Okay.
So, do y'all were talking about the voice? Do you know who I think the voice is? And this is wild as fuck, but something happened earlier this week or late last week that kind of confirms that for me.
Chris Evans coming back.
Yes, I think it's Captain America.
I wish.
Cool.
I think in the last episode,
Simmer down.
we're gonna. I think in the last episode we're gonna see him. I think
You need a month.
this is my theory for what's happening. She is causing an almost cosmic level event, and Sword agents are trying to get in there to stop it. And every time they get in there, they get sucked in, and they're in on.
So
the
we're in
act.
theories and shit now, right?
This is just my, and I think that and I think that the only that doesn't clock
In
because
case
he's
you
dead.
know the viewers don't know who's Sword.
Sword is the offshoot. So
Sword is an offshoot of Shield,
Oh. Okay.
but in the comics,
I'm about to get into some
okay.
comics lore.
Okay,
I
that
don't think you have to go too deep into the comics. 'Cause I think the MCU is going to separate a lot of that.
yeah,
Give me the rundown.
there's a space version
Give
of
the viewers a
Shield.
rundown.
Yes.
There's a space version of
Facts.
Shield. As a matter of fact, it was theorized. You saw Spider-Man, Far From Home, right? Remember at the end when Nick Fury was in space?
that was Shield. That was Sword.
That was Sword.
Okay.
Or the theory was he was starting up Sword.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
You're
funny-
welcome.
That also leads Krieger to the Man on the Wall too. But
So funny you should say that. I don't think it's that simple.
So I just thought about it. My theory is debunked because Captain America is old or dead, depending on who you.
well, it depends.
Because you
You
know
can
how
talk
they
about
started the whole multiverse.
Let's
thing,
not
right?
get into that.
it. I know.
So here's what I was gonna say. I don't think it's as simple. Shut up. I don't think it's as simple as Sword because they threw something else out there and it made me go, well, how is that gonna work? But the guy in the beekeeper suit.
Mhm.
He had a sword symbol on the back.
Okay, but what did he
That
look?
is AIM. Yeah.
It could
AIM. In the comics, AIM agents, their typical outfits are these yellow beekeeper suits. I know they gave us AIM in Iron Man 3, but that was kind of like the beginnings of it.
Okay.
Like, if you ever see AIM in the comics, all the henchmen wear these yellow, like, beekeeper suits that look just like that. Good catch. I did not think of that.
So maybe masquerading as some type of sword.
Yeah.
Or she's blending the two or something.
Mhm.
I was.
Like they're trying to use her. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Like they're trying to use her ability to turn her for some reason like that. Like this is could be like some
The voice is yelling, who is doing this to you? So,
I think so. To kick off what you were saying, it may be she may be doing a cosmic level thing, and of course there's precedence for that because of if you guys don't know what House of M is, was it House of M?
House of M.
House of M and Avengers Disassemble, where she had a breakdown and she rewrote reality in the world.
See, now that would make sense to me because of how basically destroyed she was after she had to kill Vision, and then Thanos rewinded time and then killed Vision again, and then because everyone was just because she was dusted in Infinity War, so she never had the time to deal with it.
And when she came back, she's immediately pissed.
Yeah, and now she's dealing with it because she's feeling the loss now, and so I feel like she's kind of put herself into like this. I don't want to say depressive, but kind of depressed state where she's creating this whole world, and I think like the deeper she goes into it, the more in color it is, and that's why they had the color come in at the end of the second episode, because that's her. I want to say sinking further into whatever trance she's in.
Yeah,
I think Sword is actually trying to penetrate and help her, because the knocking at the window, the helicopter crashing in the bushes, and then maybe the beekeeper. We can say maybe villain, maybe not. Someone is trying to reach out to her in the actual scenarios,
and they don't know what's happening to her because they just probably see her like this, and so they're like, okay, what set this off? Who's doing this to you?
So here's another thing that it could be, and I'm actually shocked that no one has thought about this, considering what the aesthetic is for whatever this reality is. It might be Sword. So do you remember this storyline not too long ago called Pleasantville? Yes, where Pleasantville was a story event where we find out S.H.I.E.L.D., was it S.H.I.E.L.D.?
It was S.H.I.E.L.D.
S.H.I.E.L.D. had been keeping supervillains mentally handicapped, and they all thought that they were in like what Wanda is going
like
through.
a Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it would be something more, something maybe along the same lines. But you remember in the original X-Men that Wanda was held up in a psychiatric care?
Mm-hmm.
Something similar to that, where she's just locked up somewhere, kind of like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm even thinking, going back on my theory, I said Captain America, but you know who else it might be? And this is wild as fuck, because this is a wild theory. Coulson.
So I haven't finished Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't started Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, I'm gonna just go ahead and spoil it for you. Coulson is dead. Coulson is dead, but there is
It's
a cyber.
divinity. It's a magical place.
There's an LMD of Coulson running around.
So that whole series, it was an LMD of Coulson.
Not the whole series.
Wait, see, I didn't get that far.
Okay, and we're gonna pause it right there. but before we
I'm
leap,
put it like this: Coulson can't die.
But before we leap off this clip, I gotta shout out some of the bad stuff that was going on in the series.
Wait. There's some more good stuff. Like we got
Catherine Hahn. She's good.
Mm-hmm.
the neighbor. Now, so I think I cannot tell whether she's a villain or she's a ally.
I feel like she could be both, because she comes off as very, happy, cheery, I'm ready to help, but it also seems like there's something underlying to her. And that might just be Catherine Hahn's rage. I just think she's a great actress all around.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw some comic book stuff in it.
Okay.
This is just a theory. I don't know, but it's a theory that's floating around on the internet. There's a character named Agatha Harkness. In the comics, she's this real old lady, but she was kind of like Wanda's magical mentor. That's who I think that is. Because once again, I'm still going off of my Wanda went somewhere and flipped out, and there's a big magic portal floating around in the middle somewhere, and I just think that Sword or whatever is just like throwing whatever they at it.
How do we get
Magic bitch, go. Sword agents, go. Call Captain America.
I think she's literally locked in a mental institution right now, having a psychotic breakdown.
That's possible too.
Well, I feel like, going off your theory, I feel like, what's her name?
Catherine Hahn.
I feel like she's not affected by what's going on.
Because she's magic, so she's just like, I'm gonna go in and try to fix this another
Because
way.
I feel like she's there to keep an eye on her, and she pops up anytime she gets a chance to, and not like like Vision's boss or his wife or whatever. She doesn't have a role. She's literally like, hey, we're going to do this today, and you're gonna accompany me.
Because you notice when that doesn't happen, like in the first episode, Wanda was trying to keep her out, like wouldn't let her come in the house. Your AIM theory, the Bumblebee man, I also think that there's an AIM that AIM is also sneaking in the back door. So here's another thing that we got to consider too. I don't think everybody that's in this world is in on it, because the black chick during the second episode, she was genuinely shocked by how she got teleported from backstage into that box.
I think Maria just got pulled into this dimension.
I think
I think most of the people there got pulled in, probably, because when she was having that interaction with what's her name, Dottie, the blonde lady, and the whole like thing with the radio, like Dottie was like, wait a minute, what's happening? Who are you? She was confused as well. So I think when Wanda's having like a break or hearing things, everyone else is snapping out of whatever it is they're in as well.
Well, no, think about it. And what you say is making sense. When we last left Captain Marvel, Maria already knew what was going on. So chances are she's already joined Sword. So she's probably been sent in as like a confidant, but she lost her way.
Monica
Rambeau. She was already know what was going down. So
I think she's a Sword
she's a Sword's agent, so she knows what's going down, but she lost her way.
Where was Monica Rambeau?
In Captain Marvel.
She's the daughter of the black lady.
Yeah, the little girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that. Why was she so?
I think that over time she became an agent.
Okay, I was just wondering like where y'all
Geraldine is Monica Rambeau.
Okay. I was just trying to figure out where y'all pulling this.
So she had a
Captain Marvel was based in the 80s,
From our
right?
ass.
in the
90s.
90s. Yeah, so she should be.
Yeah, she's of age. Yeah. But yeah, I think that was, and going back to about the goods of the show, like I think all the acting was great, phenomenal. There was a moment I have a question about. Vision said that I don't know if he's Latino or what, but he said that guy's a communist as a joke.
Yeah. I was like, wow.
You talking about the first episode?
The second episode.
Okay.
When they went to the meeting, when he went to the neighborhood watch meeting, and they was like, dude, we just trying to drink liquor and chill. so he was hanging out with them, and they was talking gossip and shit, and he wanted to fit in, so he was like, well, I got some gossip for y'all. Pedro's a communist. I don't know if his name was Pedro.
I don't know either.
And everybody had stopped for a minute, and even when we was watching it, I was like, the fuck?
Because I took that as, because, you know, he's a robot, he doesn't know how to joke. I think he literally calculated that dude was a communist. Like, if we were in this time and you were real, and if you're not, and I think he was actually pointing out to me that maybe that guy may not be who he says he is, maybe an infiltrator.
Yeah.
Like something's not adding up to him, and he's just not verbalizing it to the audience yet. Like, yeah, you're not with us. You're the infiltrator.
What I also liked from that scene is because when Wanda went to her meeting, everybody was talking about the business at hand. All the women were talking about relevant things, and then because it's commonly seen that women all they do is just sit around and gossip with each other, but that's exactly what the men were doing in their meeting. So I thought that was like a funny little switch that they do.
I don't even remember what they were talking about, the women per se.
They were all organizing.
Okay, what are they organizing for?
They were organizing a
for the
function
children.
for the
Oh,
children.
okay.
That's where I was getting.
Which
I
was
think,
weird that they kept it for the
the
children.
And
yeah,
there were
that's
no
why
children
I think that
around?
was like is it Pavlovian where they just kept saying for the children, and then Wanda just
Yeah.
possibility.
I got a what's the hot fuzz feeling from that thing?
The great.
The great.
And
Why
notice
you
at
all say for the great?
at the magic show there were no children.
Yeah.
But they were in front of a school.
Sure.
So, I think that's all the goods that we have so far.
But yeah, for the most part.
Well, let's go ahead and dive into the bads right quick. My bad is I think that it's going on a little too long.
A 20-minute episode is too long?
We got two.
So here's
That
the
came
thing.
out at the same time.
No.
Okay.
What I mean by too long is the lead up to the reveal. Like, we've been getting hints of it at the end of the show in various spots throughout.
Bartholomew, please. Let me explain it to you. This season this season is 9 episodes.
Granted.
A typical
Wait,
movie.
I thought it was 6.
I
9.
thought it was 8.
It's 9.
Okay.
It was 8, but they hid that 9th episode because they gave us 2 episodes for the premiere.
Okay.
a typical movie is about 2 hours, 2 hours 30 minutes if we talking Marvel. This entire season is a movie.
Can't think of it like that.
You got to.
It's a series. I know it's more time to explain the story. My thing is, after the first episode, we need to start leaning into the
So I'm gonna push back
No.
on that. I'm gonna push back on what you're saying. You haven't seen episodes 3 through 9 yet, so
Granted.
you don't know if this is going on too long yet. You're just making an assumption because you don't feel like it's moving at the speed that you want it to.
I have another point. How long is a typical Black Mirror episode?
What? An
About
hour?
hour.
30 minutes?
Sometimes an hour, sometimes an hour and a half.
Right.
They don't always reveal that shit up front.
Granted, but you starting to see the weird connections, at least 10 to 15 in there.
They do set up about the 30-minute mark, maybe 40-minute mark. By the 30-minute mark, something weird is happening.
Oh, well,
And here's the thing.
I'll say this. As far as the first episode goes, I get it. But my thing is, episode 3, I want them to start leaning a little, and they're doing it where they did the whole color correction, so now we know things are moving. But I want them to push a little more.
You gotta watch
Okay.
episode 3.
I
So
mean,
you're saying that's what you want them to do, episode 3. How is that bad, though?
Well, it's a bad.
It's like, we've only seen 1 and 2.
Like I said, it's taking too long, and unless because like certain things that we picked up and y'all picked up, a lot of regular people didn't pick up. So it was like really like, come on.
So here's the thing. A lot of what we picked up. So I'm gonna defend you a little bit.
Go ahead.
A lot of what we picked up were deep cut things that unless you read the comics, you wouldn't know. But there was also other things that we picked up that
The normal person.
that the normal person couldn't pick up. Prime example, the whole thing with the children. They was doing this thing for the children. They kept beating in your head about children. Then at the end of the episode, she pops up with a baby randomly. And last I checked, robots can't give offspring.
I'm like, so how did his pop?
Okay, wait a second.
I'll explain
Wait a
that
second. I'm gonna push back a little bit.
And the thing is, for the people that's in the comic book that read the comic books that's in the know, they're gonna be like, oh shit, here we go with House of M again.
And I'm gonna push. I don't know if I'm pushing back or agreeing. I'm not sure where we are in this conversation.
Well,
I think they put just enough in these episodes in the right moments to put the normal casual viewer to say, I'm gonna watch the next episode.
Another prime example, during the dinner party, they asked about if they had children, and you could see the look on her face when like that did something to her.
Mm-hmm. She was like, oh shit. Because every time they ask something
About
or someone
personal
question it,
relationship.
she's like, we gotta do more stuff to keep the lie going.
Yeah, and they keep alluding that there are people here who don't belong, and they're trying to blend in as much as possible.
and I'm cool, and I
But
like.
what I'm saying is visually and narratively, the casual viewer who's not, let's just say they're not the most avid Marvel comic book reader or Marvel movie watcher, they put enough weird stuff in there to say, I think I'm gonna check out the next episode. Because that dinner party where she's on loop and it was like, he's choking and whatnot, and he just gets up like nothing happened. Like, that's enough to say, okay, something weird is happening here. I think I'm gonna check out the next episode.
I just want them just to speed it up just a scotch, just a little bit.
It's 9 episodes.
And you know what? And when the shit hits the fan, I get it's gonna start spinning.
And they gave you one in episode 1, then they gave you 3 weird things in episode 2.
But this is just for me.
And I'm gonna also say
So
this.
Ken's impatient.
It's not like this motherfucker wants the Thunderbolts to come out.
I think Cam wants the Netflix version.
So I'm gonna say this too to defend them. Everything that they did, a lot of that was low budget, and they doing these shows. Yeah,
Yeah, this
So,
is pretty
yeah,
low.
let me tell you why he's right. WandaVision was not supposed to come out when it came out. As a matter of fact,
No, wait. I'm not thinking about low budget of sets. I'm talking about the price tag that they had to pay them to show back up. But yeah, you keep
Are
going.
you talking about the actors?
Yeah.
but overall, in general, it was the
budget
sets and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
the production was low impact,
low budget in a way. They could pump.
They literally had a lobster fly horizontally across the street.
I thought that was supposed to be
in the vein of the
Yeah, and that's
so
what he means.
I didn't see that as a bad because I thought they were just playing on.
Well, that's the
setting
thing.
that
I
they
don't
put you in.
I don't see that as a bad either, but it explains why this moves slower. They want to use as much of that as possible before they get into the
weird shit.
the high intensity weird shit.
And I'm cool with that. My whole thing, like I just said, just scotch.
So also too.
Just say instead of 74,
Remember-
take it 75. That's all I want.
I understand. You want your Marvel. You want to directly see your You want it now.
One thing that got
Fuck
me.
it. I know what you was gonna say.
Go.
The time has passed. It's over. No, hurry up before I say fuck it.
This is not on the same thing. Go.
Like he was saying,
So-
it was a bunch of.
Okay, Phase 4 of Marvel was supposed to start last year with Black Widow. Did not happen. And right after Black Widow, we were supposed to go into Falcon and Winter Soldier. This show was supposed to be on the tail end. We weren't supposed to get this show until fall of this year because it was supposed to be that sleeper thing until the next movie. But the reason we're getting it now...
This connects into Doctor Strange.
Exactly. And the reason...
Supposedly.
And I feel like the reason we're getting it now is because even though Falcon... Yeah, we'll get to that. Even though Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to be first, they shot all over the world and then had to stop because of COVID. This show is being shot on probably at Tyler Perry's studio in one building.
I did see a Medea wig.
So they and going back to what he said, it's cheaper than having to fly to Budapest for one scene in Falcon Winter Soldier. So they was like, this is the only thing we have ready to go that we don't put in theaters.
I know you said Chris Evans was wiser than Doctor Strange trying to pull her out.
Cause it don't sound like him to me.
Like
it could be though.
Distorted.
Yeah.
It is distorted, but to me, I clearly hear a voice that does not sound like Benedict Cumberbatch to me.
Yeah, it doesn't sound snobby. It's coming.
Why are we slandering Sherlock?
Wait. We're not talking about all Brits.
We're talking about Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Why are we slandering Sherlock Holmes?
It's not slandering.
No,
it's
we're
for real.
slandering Benedict Cumberbatch.
Why?
Because he sounds slimy and scummy.
I didn't say anything.
Look here.
I just said it didn't sound like Benedict.
I honestly don't care about Benedict Cumberbatch. That's not the whole
You
reason
said it
we're
wrong.
doing
It's
this.
Bandersnatch.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. So that's why we went into WandaVision. Thank you
Yeah.
guys for.
I had something else.
Yeah, there any more bads?
This isn't necessarily a bad, but it just kind of threw me off a lot. Vision can be taken out with a stick of gum.
Yeah, that was stupid. That was
No,
really
that was literally for the comedic purpose.
and what
It
made
was,
me,
but I'm just like, if any of the Avengers enemies knew, they just fire that straight in the
like Hawkeye or Taskmaster or Bullseye when he get up.
Put his stick of gum straight in his
For God's sakes, on the inside of him, we're spinning cogs.
So, and that was played for comedy.
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah,
got
the
but
cogs,
it
but
still
was
irked
still
me
the thing
because
that
it was,
the gum messed with his system because he's not supposed to.
and before it made him drunk, I'm like, this obviously concerns you. Dig in your guts and pull it out.
Here's
That's
the
what
thing.
pissed me off.
Y'all mad at that, but we're not mad at the fact that Wanda could have just made the meal appear, but we had to go through all this.
No, I'm pissed off at that too. I was getting to that.
They
Like,
did a lot of stuff like that, and this was a prime
It
example.
was slapstick.
In episode 2, at the beginning when they did the intro, there's a scene where Vision gets up out of bed and he goes in the shower and then he gets ready to go to work and whatnot. And then he gets to work and he doesn't drink water. He's offered water or juice or something like that, and he doesn't. Yeah. And I'm like, you just took a shower. Why did water not bother you then, but it bothers you now?
Outside.
Do you drink your shower water? Don't answer that.
He's a robot!
I get
It
what
doesn't
you're
matter where the water hits you.
But
I
if
get
you
what Christian
remember
is
from
saying.
Ultron, he was also made that way, so he doesn't have circuits sticking out of him. That means he's
Here-
gonna
he also
electrocute himself.
tasted food in Civil War.
Here we ask the hard-hitting questions. Do you drink your shower water? Do you pee in your shower? These are the questions that you need to ask.
And then there are other things where like, so the whole doing a neighborhood watch shit, and I'm like, why are you scared? You're a fucking superhero.
This is the same guy who was afraid of the knocking tree against the door. Which,
But I mean, that's
by the
like-
way, euphemism, because later on in that scene, they started knocking boots. So,
Oh my god! I felt like that was. I felt like
He's not wrong. I can't admonish him about
since
this.
we're talking about subtext clues and stuff, the whole neighborhood watch and being concerned about thieves and robbers and stuff can also be seen as subtext for someone's trying to break the illusion.
Yeah. So I think that there's enough to keep us interested. Not that this is just a Marvel property.
it's unique, and one thing I do have to give it kudos for is that it's a unique spin. We haven't seen anything in this vein of context created before.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the content creators are doing their jobs, and this is why they get paid the big bucks.
If I had to criticize that specifically, it's the fact that this is starting out phase 4, and it's a offbeat start to the phase.
But-
But we already explained why that is, so I let that slide.
And I will also say this too, because we're throwing around the term Phase 4, and you know that Kevin Feige never said that. Kevin Feige was like, "What's a phase?" It's like y'all came up with that.
Indeed, unless you want to go back and look at the charts where it literally says phase. So we're gonna let that go, Mr. Feige, as you do your cocaine.
I mean,
All in all,
at least his gaslighting isn't as bad as Patty Jenkins.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Because
Let it go.
No, because he says that, but at the same time, he was like, Spider-Man, Home Far From Home isn't the start of Phase 4. It's the end of Phase 3.
anyway, thank you guys for joining us for this episode of
Justice.
Thank you. Anywho, we all, like you said, all in all, I think we appreciate the work that WandaVision is doing and can't wait to see the upcoming episodes in their fruition. Thank you guys for joining us for this episode of the Justice Review. Like and subscribe, and pay attention because we will keep covering this in depth, and I'll give you the insights that some of you guys have missed, and maybe you can tell us in the bottom what we missed. And you know what? You're probably wrong. Like and subscribe. But until next time. Benedict Cumberdick.